Have any one of you watched the movie The Da Vinci Code? I believe it's a wonderful movie and stars one of my favorite Hollywood actors, Tom Hanks as Robert Langdon. The movie commences with his presentation about our interpretation of symbols, and he shows symbols such as a pitchfork and elucidates about how they're perceived differently in the Greek and Christian mythological cultures as Poseidon and Satan, respectively. Now, I would like to connect this to the notion of languages for a second, which are a powerful tool for communication that enable us to interact, work, and socialize in a sophisticated manner. But do you think differences in our languages impede or affect our thought processes or a perspective towards the outside world? Does it restrict us to our individual domains and act as a barrier for a greater societal good? This is what we will be dealing with today. The whole idea of language affecting our perspective stems from a weirdly sounding hypothesis called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, or commonly known as linguistic relativism. Now, what is this weirdly sounding hypothesis exactly? It states that one's language shapes one's view of reality and cognition. Let's understand this in a better manner. For example, the Yucatec Maya language does not have a past, present, or a future tense, and they even lack words such as before, after, and until. But standard European languages such as English, French, and German have such tenses and words due to the similarity in the way they comprehend time. This shows us how two different languages that are vectors of one's culture skew people's comprehension about the outside world and its components such as time. There are other such domains such as color and direction where native language speakers understand differently and comprehend differently. This is covered in another interesting TED talk by Lera Boroditsky. So it can be asserted that language can profoundly be influenced by the spatial and cultural context as well, rendering it to be even more distinctive and unique. I believe that discussing about this hypothesis, sans its limitations, is extremely pertinent to the socio-political events that encompass and engulf our daily lives, such as our stride for a gender-neutral and society and feminism. What really fascinated me about this hypothesis originates from a 2016 movie called Arrival. In order to not spoil it for you, the movie deals with a linguist trying to communicate with aliens that arrived here on Earth. She begins to communicate with the aliens and tries to understand the nuances of the alien language symbols. In the process of immersing herself in to interpret the language, psychologically, her brain gets rewired to perceive reality just like the aliens. Wonderful, isn't it? I thought this was a splendid example to depict how immersing ourselves into another language gives us a second soul and reality altogether. Acclimatizing ourselves to embrace another language is like paving a pathway that transcends our present self and provides us with a different um, view of reality altogether. Now, this whole idea seems wonderful to us, where languages tweak our psychological self and rewire us. But I believe that language can act as a double edged sword. This process of rewiring can gradually do more harm than good to the society. For example, languages such as German and Spanish are highly gendered that leads to the native speakers to be inclined to the idea of gender being a binary construct. In German, if you have to identify yourself as a teacher, you say der Lehrherr, which means a male teacher, or a der Lehrerin, which is a female teacher. In French, also, we have classification of nouns and pronouns based on gender. And likewise, in Spanish, we see some Spanish words have negative connotations. And in the feminine form, like gallo means tough, and galina, its female equivalent, means cowardly. Now, ever since the 17th century, the French, German, and Spanish grammar has been male dominated and had a male grammar default to collectively refer to everyone. In a 2011 study conducted by a group associates at Rhode Island School of Design, discovered that countries that have gendered languages experience higher average of gender inequality. Now, this depicts how we need to transform our languages to the new normal and to the progressive societal norms. If languages aren't representative of different sexualities or adhere to gender neutrality, but have the power to alter our perception of the world, don't you think that we need a substantial change? Developing this positive change within the society, I believe, is of paramount significance for breaking the pre existing gender based barriers and collectively progress to a gender neutral and an equitable society. So, what can we take home from this conversation today? I believe that language could play an essential role in our fight against gender inequality and conservative societal mindset that impedes our progress. I will be concluding my speech by giving a food for thought. We know that languages evolve and is highly influenced by the events from the past or spatial context. Is it really possible to change all these years of baggage that has ultimately contributed to its present form? In order to eliminate this bias, does that mean we need to change ourselves altogether? Thank you and have a wonderful day.